What's going on, everybody? It is Dukes and Bell. Of course, Mike making his way overseas to see the Falcons this Sunday in Berlin. Our man Big O has a prior arrangement. Mark Zeno, that is, who's filling in for Mike, also has a veterans event that he's going to be at today. So it's just Day and I, just the two of us, and you, of course. We are going to be on today at 2 o'clock on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. We invite you, obviously, to come out. We're going to be at Buffalo's Cafe in Hiram. So if you get a chance, if you live in the area, and we make a joke because everybody that comes or recently that has come out to that event is literally, 2 miles away. And we make a joke about it because it feels like everybody, I'm just 2 miles away. So if you are 2 miles away, come on through today. We'd love to get a chance to see you guys. We will have Barbara Dooley on today to talk dogs with us, and also Mike Griffith from Dog Nation. So we're looking forward to that as Georgia gets ready for Miss State. And we're going to talk a little bit about that here on this Behind the Curtain show that we do each and every day, whether it's Twitch, YouTube, however you're doing it, accessing us, guys. Thank you. Tell your friends. We really appreciate you guys. All right. We were at Flowery Branch yesterday, Day. Ra was in a good mood, right? I mean, he was in a good mood, and I say that. It's a three straight losses. You could be down in the dumps, and I think Zeno and I addressed that. Mark's in for Mike today and tomorrow, and I think we kind of addressed the fact that I just don't know if Falcon fans expect him to come in moping, crying, weeping. He came in a good mood, and I think, look, we talk about teams taking the attitude of their coach. The problem is our team has not consistently won, and we've been inconsistent, so it's hard to buy into this team having a positive attitude and positive energy because of the way that these losses have happened. But I still think that's the case. And I still think that guys are responding and certainly are listening to Ra. And I only say that to get to yesterday comes in and he talked about, I think we discussed, and Zeno may have asked him specifically about getting back to running the ball. Mm-hmm. This seems so easy, Day, doesn't it? I mean, if everybody knows this is what we have to do, then why can't we consistently do it? And last week, again, I think Coach mentioned this to us yesterday. You can go online at Odyssey.com and hear the whole interview. But he said, he asked us, who's run the ball well on the Patriots this year? Kind of saying we knew this was one of their strengths going in, right, and we had to adjust, and they felt like they did. And again, we were in the game. We could have potentially taken that game to overtime, and who knows what happens, but it didn't play out that way. But what do you think about, we keep hearing him say this. Why is it the OC not doing whatever it is that Ra is preaching? And that's something that I asked him about. Like, what are you preaching? Because if you're saying we got to run the ball more, then why the hell can't we do it?
Yeah. To your point, Carl, they're kind of up against it again this week too. Colts don't allow a lot of yards when it comes to the run game. They're fourth. So they're just 3 spots behind the Patriots. I think for the Colts, it's 87 yards that they allow on the ground per game. So they're kind of in the same boat that they were in last week. As to your question about, why there seems to be and I don't know if it's necessarily a disconnect, but why we can't get what we want done. I mean, largely, in fact, I think you have to also, look at the fact that we know opposing teams want to take away Bijan, right? So does it go back to the point that you and Mike have had kind of earlier on about, is it the lack of creativity of how we get the ball into Bijan's hands? If he is our best player, because obviously they're going to do what they got to do, put however many in the box. And again, take away Bijan, take away Tyler Algier. Don't let them get, find their holes and beat them up front in the trenches.
Sure.
So, if that's the case, I do feel like we have been seeing Zach Robinson try to get creative with other ways. We've seen Bijan motion and catch the ball out in the flats and, swing passes, things of that nature. But it's still a matter of, I think these defenses have really said, no, I don't care where you line Bijan Robinson up. We're not going to let him impact this game, whether it's in the run, whether it's out in him catching the ball in the pass. Michael Penix, you have to beat us over the top. We got close to that last week. We saw the best game offensively from Drake London this year with the 115 and 3 touchdown catches. Mm-hmm. So, we've been saying this really honestly. We've been saying that teams are gonna be trying to make Michael Penix beat us through the air. And so I don't know how Zach comes up with other ways to get this run game going. Now we've heard Ross say that he's taking to task the O line, saying that he believes the O line hasn't done well. So if that's the case, then how do we whip them, get it going with those guys if that's the case? You know what I mean? And it's going to be tough this week because we know Bergeron's not playing and we don't know what the status of Lindstrom is going to be.
Lindstrom has a foot injury. That's what it's listed as. He did not participate on Wednesday. Today is obviously Thursday. They leave today. So they will practice and then leave. And Rod discussed to us yesterday, Coach Raheem Morris for the Falcons, about the strategy behind going overseas. And, there's different methods, right? He said he went over there one year. They were over there for a week. I think that's a long time because you get adjusted. But he said the key then was you knew you had a bye week after.
Yeah.
So you can do that, screw your body's clock up a little bit, come back and take some time to get back on track. The irony for the Falcons is they play on Sunday morning and then they are back home after the Berlin trip. And I think we have the Panthers following week on the 16th. So that's the problem right now is, you go, well, how much time do we want to spend? And then he talked about sleep patterns. Sounds stupid, but if you guys have traveled overseas, you guys know, that flight alone, if you don't sleep on it, many people can't sleep on flights. Some people, they sleep the entire time, but you get off that thing and you're drained. So the first day is kind of screwed. And he was saying you want to keep guys up and then you engage them and then have them tired so they can sleep that next night. Well, guess what? That's Friday night. Saturday, you're back at it. And then Sunday, you're playing. So all these teams are dealing with this. The point is, making this trip overseas, it's a little different animal. But with the injuries to Lindstrom and Bergeron has an ankle. Dede's right. He's not playing. That's what Coach said yesterday. So he talked about, who was it, Stuber, that they signed, stepping in?
Yeah, and then Hinton, right?
Hinton being the other. And that's what I think is going to happen on the O-line, especially if Lindstrom is unable to go. But he said it. Look, if Chris Lindstrom walks into, his office or whatever the setup is over there and says, Coach, I'm playing, Rod's not going to say no. Right. He's a Pro Bowl guard. You're better with him on the field, but, we'll have to see where he is. As we talk about the Falcons, guys, and we'll continue this conversation today, one of the things I want to get into, and we'll talk a little bit more about this afternoon, is, when you talk about the decisions from the head coach that are made that impact the team, and there have been a lot of decisions from, the coaching hires that he's made to how he's handled certain situations. And we're going to get a little bit into this today because if, in fact, we go overseas and lose on Sunday, it just raises more questions. I hope, and I don't know if this is going to happen. I know Falcon fans are watching this and going, Dukes, you're crazy. It's false hope. I just know at our best this season, we can beat anybody. We just did that with the Bills, right? That they just dismantled pretty much the Kansas City Chiefs. And that was with a healthy Patrick Mahomes. He's got his receiving core back. Bottom line is you just don't know. And if we can show up, I feel really good about this game on Sunday. But One thing, Dede, we got to stop Jonathan Taylor, man. I mean, they're talking about Bijan. They're not going to come off running Jonathan Taylor. And if we are unable to stop the run, that is going to be a big problem for us on Sunday. I think going into this game, this is the first time all season where I said, if we don't stop the run, we lose.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that way against the Commanders. I didn't feel that way against the Bills because they weren't giving James Cook the ball at that point as much. If we don't do that this week, I think we lose.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder, what can we take out of the page of the Steelers because they were the first team really to effectively keep him from being impactful in that game last week.
And they turned him over. A lot. That was the other thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But kind of going back to your point from last week, the problem now is the Colts, because they have such a realistic chance of winning their division, getting a top seed possibly, that loss for them, there's a good chance for them coming into this game, all right, refocus, and them, just like we want to get our run game established, they want to make sure that they don't have a repeat of, multiple games where their run game and Taylor's not being an impact. So yeah, our guys up front, our run defense is really going to have to step up this week because that's going to be an emphasis for them just as much as it is for us, especially because of the fact of how good he has been for them this year. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it seems like the MVP talks have kind of like been just this year. But if we're because of quarterback play kind of being kind of evened out, maybe no quarterback is necessarily just having that type of season where everybody's like, oh, that's going to probably be the MVP. But Taylor, in my opinion, is having an MVP season.
He is. And let me see, he's got 10 touchdowns, I think, maybe 11. I have to look. I mean, he's on track to score 20 touchdowns. Like, that's crazy. And have obviously over probably 1,500 yards or so. I don't think he gets to 2,000, but who knows, man? I mean, you need a couple of 200-yard games like Saquon last year, and all of a sudden you're right there. It is our behind the curtain show, guys. Day-Day executive producer Mike is out. Obviously, Mark Zeno's in for him today. We'll be at Buffalo's Cafe in Hiram hanging out. Come on through if you get a chance. A couple other things real quick as we're talking about the Falcons, and we got to talk about Georgia before we get out of here. And Barbara Dooley's going to join us today, as we always have a great time with Barbara, getting ready for Miss State. Mike Griffith from Dog Nation. Zach Robinson yesterday spoke when we were up at Flowery. Mm-hmm. And the quote is, the communication down on the sidelines has been really positive, but we haven't gotten the results we wanted, and we're kicking ourselves over that. How do you feel about this whole he's on the sidelines? Does it feel like things have changed? We're still making, I don't know, I don't want to say dumb mistakes, but it feels that way, right? And then I asked Raw yesterday, how are you trying to correct these self-inflicted wounds? And obviously he was talking about, just trying to preach to the guys. He was talking about the Michael Penix intentional grounding play, right idea, just didn't go to the right place with the football. And I can give Penix a break. Look, I'm as frustrated as anybody with some of the things I've seen, but I also know, he's still a very young quarterback. He's not a savvy enough quarterback yet in this league to get an early snap, pressures in his face, and go, oh, I know where I need to go exactly with the ball. He was just trying to get rid of it. But those are coaching items, right? Those are things that you got to coach up. So do you think Zach Robinson is right that the sideline communication is better, but we haven't gotten the results? And that's what he's basically saying. So is it better if you're not getting the results?
That's a tough one, Carl, because kind of just going back to this game in general, so many positive things to take away from the offense's performance. Outside of, again, but then you do have the self-inflicted wounds. So it would appear that, communication has gotten better because this was our best offensive performance in weeks, right?
Yeah.
The biggest issue this week was, if we're honest, the two mistakes. Having to call the timeout after we picked up the first down on the penalty on the Patriots, and then the intentional grounding. So to your point, I mean, I think we have to realize too with Michael Penix, like you said, essentially it is still his first go around facing all these different defenses. Okay, he faced the Commanders last year, he faced the Panthers last year, and the Giants, right? Those were his three starts, correct?
Right.
Outside of that, he has not had a chance to see all these different looks. So it's still a big learning curve for him. We have to kind of expect, like, look, Bo Nix, as good as he was last year, he had his issues. He had issues some this year a little bit. So we're essentially getting that rookie play, those rookie mistakes out of Penix now. Yes, it's year 2, but he has not faced all these different defenses, all these different looks. If we're honest, he's still getting used to some of the speed of the game.
Yeah, it's a good play. No, it's true. And that's why I still have a lot of hope that he's going to be really good when it's all said and done. But these are the rookie struggles of a quarterback. More on this today, guys. Real quick, the Dogs take on Miss State. It's Thursday. And, as I start to look at this game and I'm starting to break some things down about Miss State, they've been in a lot of games. Matter of fact, most of their games should have beat Texas at home, and they blew a 17-point lead in the second half in the fourth quarter. Kirby said it's all about their performance. He's not worried about the score, but he wants to see a dominant performance from the Dogs. We've not gotten that this year. So they've won, 5 in a row? They've got one loss against Alabama. But Kirby's right. And if you're a Dog fan, this may be the one concerning thing. Great second half team, but you haven't seen a dominant performance from start to finish. You haven't. And you know, early in the season, remember, like it was they were so generic and all that stuff, and they were playing lesser opponents. In these SEC games, Auburn trailing, Florida trailing, Tennessee trailing. You haven't had a dominant performance throughout. Do we get that on Saturday at Miss State?
I think we got to try to find a way to. But here's the thing, Carl. Miss State, like you said, has been in every game. You know, they are coming in, they're coming off of a win, their first win in like what, 5 or so games.
Yep.
You know, and that was a tough one too. I mean, 38-35 against Arkansas, but OT against Texas, right? They lose by 7. They take Florida to task, only lose by 2. A&M, unfortunately for them, that one wasn't as close. But then Tennessee, another OT loss where they lose by 7. Like, Georgia's going to have their hands full, and that's a Miss State team that's very talented offensively. So I don't know if this is the game where we see total control, if I'm 100% honest with you. I think this is a game where Georgia could find themselves, yeah, sure, maybe they get up early, and maybe that's going to be the key, but it's going to be, I think this could very well be a game where Miss State kind of finds themselves answering back, and it's going to come down to what Georgia's defenses has been doing really almost all season long, late in the game, second half of games, bowing up and coming up with, you know, consecutive stops, turning Miss State over, you know, whether it's forcing them to punt, turnover on downs. Prime example of that was this past weekend where they had the 2 series where it was turnover on downs and Georgia got the ball back. So, yeah, man, I don't know that this is going to be a game where they dominate, but it can be a game that they control.
They have averaged 33 points a game. It's the most for Miss State since 2015 when they averaged 34 a game. They're scoring, and I expect them to score on Saturday. We're going to get more into it today, guys. Join us, Buffalo's Cafe at Hiram. Dede and I, of course, will be there. Mark Zeno in for Mike today. It'll be a lot of fun, and more importantly, we'll be talking about a variety of things on the show. Thanks for being here. Behind the curtain, guys. We'll talk to you at 2.